My dear friend, I want you to pause for a moment. Stop worrying about the numbers in your bank account, the upcoming expenses, or even the dreams you've quietly shelved just because you thought, I don't have enough money. Let me tell you something that perhaps no one has ever clearly said to you. Money is not just paper, and it's not merely the result of hard labor. Money is energy, and that energy is waiting for you to come into alignment with it. I don't say this as some mystical statement, but as a truth I've personally lived. From the days when I struggled trying to do more to earn more money to the moment I stopped, took a deeper look at the way I thought, behaved, and reacted to money, and then everything started to change. Did you know that energy never disappears? It only transforms. Money is the same. When you spend money on learning, investing, helping someone, or simply living, you're not losing that value. You're simply transforming it into another form: knowledge, opportunity, trust, connection, experience. And what's remarkable is this, that energy doesn't vanish. It continues to vibrate in the universe, waiting for the right moment to return to you. Maybe you've experienced the sinking feeling of losing a large sum of money, or the regret of an investment that didn't yield returns. I know that feeling more intimately than anyone, but instead of viewing those moments as losses, I've learned to see them as forms of transformation, like the tide pulling back to prepare for a more powerful wave. And I want you to start viewing your life through that lens. No loss is ever permanent if you still have the ability to give value. Think back to the last time you gave something, a thought, a helping hand, a gift. How did you feel? That's right, you felt fuller, not because you lost something, but because you were in the flow. And that flow, if you stay in it, will always return more than you imagined. Money at its core is a circulating flow of energy between giving and receiving, between the internal and the external. And what strengthens that flow isn't exhausting yourself through overwork, but emitting a positive energy frequency: excitement, gratitude, genuine presence, unwavering commitment. When you live in a high energy state, you don't just attract money. You attract people, opportunities, and support. I used to believe that being skilled was enough, but no. People are drawn to your energy before they care about your ability. When you walk into a room with quiet confidence, with a burning passion, with a spirit ready to give without calculation, you make people notice. They'll want to be near you. And often, they won't even know why. They'll just feel, this person has something I trust. That is energy, and you can consciously nurture it every day. Start from within. The words you say to yourself. What are you planting into your mind each morning? Is it fear? Self-judgment? Or are they words that nourish? I am worthy of abundance. I am ready to receive financial blessings from the most unexpected places. These words are not just sounds. They are the programming language of energy. Take care of your body, because your body is the transmitter of your energy. Eat foods that nourish your cells, sleep well, move to increase circulation. Not for aesthetics, but because you're raising your vibrational frequency. A healthy body is the foundation that allows financial energy to flow with ease. And you know what? Don't forget to do the things that make you happy, genuinely happy. Not for results, not to be efficient, but simply because your heart feels alive when you do them. When you work from a state of joy, you are tuning into the frequency of money, because money always flows to those who work from a place of love and enthusiasm. I know this might sound illogical to some people, but look back. Isn't it true that the times when you worked with joy, ease, and no pressure, those were when the most opportunities showed up? And the times you were stressed, rushed, overly controlling, everything seemed to push against you? That's the signal. And I'm not here to teach you how to make money, but to remind you, you are already a magnet. The only question is, what frequency are you radiating? I want you to pause and ask yourself, am I radiating the kind of energy that money wants to come closer to? The energy I put into my work, my relationships, and every financial decision? Is it aligned with the frequency of prosperity? You don't need to become someone else. You just need to activate the version of you that is full of energy. From that place, money will no longer be something you chase, it will be something that finds its way to you. And I am here to walk with you on that journey, starting today. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed a distinct fragrance? Maybe the scent of old books, a freshly brewed cup of coffee, or the wood aroma of a newly renovated space? Scent is something invisible, untouchable, yet it makes your heart remember, respond, and resonate. And did you know? Money also has a scent like that, but only those who truly love and appreciate money can detect its fragrance in the living space, in opportunities, in the things others overlook every single day. I'm telling you this not to make money seem abstract or mystical, quite the opposite. I want you to understand that there is a way to feel the presence of money even when your pockets are empty. And the moment you begin to smell the scent of money is the moment you are getting closer to it. The scent of money. That's how I describe the subtle feeling that people with a wealthy mindset always carry with them. They don't have to think all day about how to make money. They simply show up at the right place at the right time and recognize signals others don't see. They have a sensitive nose because they love money. They value it. And they are not ashamed to say they want more to live a more expansive life. And if you've ever been taught that loving money is wrong, greedy, or selfish, I want you to gently remove that belief from your mind. Loving money doesn't make you selfish. Only blind greed at the cost of your values leads people into traps. But when you love money consciously, you're opening the door to understand its language. Money has its own way of communicating with you. It doesn't shout, it doesn't force, it whispers. And to hear that whisper, you need to quiet the noise in your mind, release the old judgments, and start to build a healthy relationship with money. That's when you'll begin to notice the financial opportunities around you, the offers, the small openings that, if you're not sensitive enough, you'll miss. Let me tell you the story of Annie. A woman with a special nose, not a biological one, but a powerful intuition for sensing the hidden value in things that seemed old or worn out. While others looked at decaying houses and saw broken bricks, Annie smelled old mahogany wood, the potential of fresh paint, a kitchen that could become the heart of joy for a new family. She didn't see a ruined house. She saw a profitable opportunity. And she didn't just see it with her eyes, she felt it with her energy. You have that ability too. You can smell the scent of opportunity, but only when you begin to tune yourself to the frequency of wealth. And how do you do that? First, by stopping your resistance to money. Every time you say, I don't care about money, or money is just superficial, you're slowly dulling your sense of smell toward the scent of abundance. But when you say, I respect money, I want to understand and walk with money, you're opening the door for it to enter your life space. That scent, if you're perceptive enough, will lead you to new choices. A course appearing at just the right time, a meeting that seemed random turning into a valuable partnership, an investment opportunity surfacing in a place you didn't expect. And if you make it a habit to ask yourself every day, where is today's opportunity hiding? You will start sharpening your financial nose. Observe more closely, listen more attentively. See through the lens of abundance instead of lack. When you enter a conversation, don't just listen to the words, listen to the energy behind them. When you read the news, don't just read the text, read the trend, the demand, because opportunity always has a scent. But only those who love money can recognize its fragrance amidst the millions of other signals. I know it's not easy to change a belief deeply rooted since childhood, but my friend, you don't need to become someone else. You only need to allow yourself to love money without shame. Start simple. Say thank you when money comes in, even if it's just a small amount. Take care of the money you have in your hand, even if it's just a few coins. And most importantly, don't judge others for earning more than you. Every time you envy or doubt someone's success, you're sending a negative message to the energy of money surrounding you. On the other hand, every time you congratulate someone on their success, every time you say, my turn will come too, You're activating another scent receptor in your soul. And I believe very soon you'll begin to notice the sweet fragrance of the things you once thought were out of reach. From today, become someone who knows how to smell, not with your physical nose, but with your intuition, your mindset, and your love for money. Let each day make you more sensitive to the scent of valuable things. And then you will realize money was never far from you. It's simply been waiting for you to notice its quiet but magnetic presence. My dear friend, have you ever felt like money comes to you and then leaves too quickly? You may have had a good income, a big opportunity, or a moment when cash was flowing in effortlessly, only for it all to slip through your fingers, leaving behind a sense of emptiness, anxiety, even insecurity. I've been there. I used to think the problem was that I wasn't good at saving, spent too much, or wasn't lucky enough for long. But one day I realized something deeper. Money is not meant to stand still. Money needs to circulate, to breathe, to live, just like the blood in your body. And you, yes, you, are the one who decides whether that flow is open or blocked. At its core, money is a form of energy, and like all energy, it only becomes powerful when it flows continuously between giving and receiving. If you only give without daring to receive, you will burn out. If you only want to receive without being willing to give, you will become blocked. Prosperity isn't about how much you have, but whether money is flowing naturally through you. And to reach that state, you must learn to become a channel of circulation, willing to give and open to receiving. Let me pause and ask you an important question. When was the last time you gave something, anything, not necessarily money? Maybe it was a piece of advice, a sincere act of help, or a moment when you fully listened to someone. And next, when was the last time you allowed someone to help you? Do you accept easily, or do you often push it away, thinking you must handle it yourself? If you often feel uncomfortable receiving, be honest with yourself. If you often feel uncomfortable receiving, be honest with yourself, because refusing to receive is also blocking half of the flow of abundance in your life. I used to think I was being noble by always giving and never expecting anything in return, but the truth is that wasn't kindness, it was imbalance. The universe does not function in one direction. Inhale, exhale, day, night. The tide rises, the tide falls. Everything requires circulation, and so do you. You must learn to give with an open heart and to receive with peaceful gratitude. When you create real value, you deserve to receive. When you live with sincerity, you deserve to be supported. When you share love, you deserve to be loved in return. Here's a beautiful truth. When you give naturally, money often finds its way back to you in the most unexpected ways. You may help someone without expecting anything, and a new opportunity appears from a complete stranger. You may invest in a passion project and later be invited into something even greater. The secret lies in this. When your energy is open, the world opens too. And I want you to remember this. Giving does not mean sacrifice. And receiving does not mean greed. They are two ends of the same flow. A breath, a rhythm. When you understand this, you will no longer struggle to help others, nor feel guilty when money flows toward you. Start with the small things. If you have a skill, share it. If you have a little extra, use it to create value, even if it's just buying someone a meaningful cup of coffee. If you see someone in need, help in any way you can. And most importantly, learn to receive with appreciation. When someone wants to help you, don't refuse out of politeness. Smile and say, "Thank you. I truly appreciate this." Because in that moment when you allow someone else to give, you are helping them keep the flow of prosperity alive. I know, it takes time to practice this. Many of us grew up with the belief that you should only give, never expect to receive, or if you want something, do it yourself. But today I want you to gently change that. Believe this instead. You deserve the fruits of what you helped create. When you work hard, when you live with integrity, when you continuously bring value, then money, opportunity, and support will find their way to you naturally without needing to be begged for. And if you've read this far, I believe you are ready to become part of that flow. Leave a comment saying, "I'm ready" or "I'm here," so I know you're walking this journey with me. Yes, just one line. but it means the world to me. Because when you declare your readiness, you're not just speaking to me, you're affirming to yourself, I open my heart to receive. I allow abundance to flow through me. And I deeply thank you for that, for the quiet yet powerful commitment inside you. My friend, money does not come to be held, it comes to be shared. And when you become someone who knows how to guide that flow, you will never be lacking. Keep your heart open, keep your hands flexible, ready to give when you can and to receive when needed. That is how you live in balance, in love, and in true wealth. We'll dive deeper into higher levels of financial flow in the coming sections. But for today, I simply want you to remember this. Let money move through you, like breath flowing through your cells, gently, steadily, naturally. And when that happens, you'll realize you no longer need to chase money, because you are becoming the person money is drawn to. There's something you and I have both seen many times in life. There are people who seem to work incredibly hard, always busy, always trying their best, yet money keeps slipping away from them. Meanwhile, others move at a calmer pace, working with ease, yet they attract not only money, but also support, opportunities, and valuable resources. Where does the difference lie? It's not just in strategy, skill, or luck. It's this. They know exactly what they are working for. They have a purpose strong enough to make money seek them out. Wealth is not the result of relentlessly chasing money. It's the natural outcome of standing up for something bigger than yourself. When money becomes a tool to serve a meaningful goal, it stops being something hard to attain. It turns into a companion always ready to show up at the right time, in the right place, and in the form you need. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make, and many people still do, is pursuing money as the ultimate goal. But here's the truth. Money can never be the final destination. When you make money the center of your life's journey, you will always feel lacking, always worried, always insecure. Because money by itself cannot bring a sense of fulfillment. It only gains meaning when connected to something greater, a dream, an ideal, a mission that creates real value in the world. Look at those who are sustainably wealthy, not just financially, but also spiritually, and you'll notice one common trait. They live with clear purpose. They don't simply make money to accumulate it. They use it to build, to expand, to heal, to innovate, to connect. That purpose becomes a magnetic field, drawing money toward them, not through force or pretense, but through the deep alignment of their thoughts, actions, and beliefs. I want you to imagine this. You are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to wealth without reason. You work hard, you get rewarded, but you feel no connection to it. The other path leads to your life's purpose, where you know you're contributing to someone's life in a meaningful way, no matter how small. And then from every direction, money, support, and new ideas begin to arrive, not because you're chasing them, but because you're radiating the energy of someone who is truly living their reason for being. True wealth doesn't come from what you try to hold on to. It comes from what you courageously share. When you spend time discovering what stirs your heart, when you dare to say, this is what I was born to do, and when you show up for that calling every day with determination and sincerity, money will become a natural resource that supports your mission. I've seen this clearly through the story of a friend, Teddy. He didn't come from wealth, nor did he have any major connections in the investment world, but he had a burning desire to create high-quality co-living spaces for digital nomads, a growing community around the globe. When he started, he had no capital, but he had one undeniable asset, a clear goal and deep faith in the value he could deliver. He began sharing his vision with everyone he met, not to ask for money, but to plant seeds of awareness. He visited properties, sketched out plans, studied the market, even before a single dollar of funding came in. And then, as a natural result, supporters began to show up. They didn't just bring finances, they brought relationships, encouragement, and belief. Because they weren't investing in a project, they were investing in a man with purpose. You see, when you live in alignment with purpose, you don't have to scream for money to come. Money hears the sincerity in your every action. It finds its way to support you. As long as you remain clear in your direction and consistent in your steps. Wealth is not just a financial state. It's the mindset of someone who knows exactly why they're alive. When you live with purpose, you're no longer shaken by external temptations. You don't fall into the trap of comparison, and you'll never feel empty, even when surrounded by abundance, because you know that every dollar you earn is helping to fulfill a vision greater than yourself. And if right now you still don't know your life's purpose, don't rush. Start with what you care about. What makes you feel alive? What gives you a reason to wake up and contribute each morning? Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be real. When you live authentically, money will follow authentically. When money is no longer something you have to fight for, but becomes a natural flow that supports the meaningful journey you're on, that is true freedom. Let money be the fuel for your dream, not the reason you lose yourself. And one day you'll come to realize wealth isn't about having more. It's about having enough to do what you were born to do and living fully in that truth. There's something fascinating you'll notice when observing truly wealthy individuals. They don't go around trying to sell themselves. They don't need to shout for attention or exaggerate what they do. And yet, people still seek them out. They still want to collaborate, still feel compelled to pay a premium for what these people can offer. And if you listen closely enough, you'll realize what makes them magnetic isn't their appearance or reputation. It's their unwavering belief in the value they bring. In a world full of noise and competition, the ones who truly attract money are not the loudest promoters, but those who deeply believe in the value of what they offer. They understand at a fundamental level that money is a byproduct, not the goal. When you genuinely believe that what you do can improve someone's life, solve their problems, or fulfill their deeper needs, the energy you emit will automatically attract attention, trust, and eventually, money. I once fell into the trap of comparison, feeling not skilled enough, not attractive enough, not sellable enough. But one day I realized no one can buy genuine confidence if you don't own it first. Others will only trust you when you truly believe in yourself. And that belief doesn't come from memorizing sales strategies. It comes from living in integrity with the value you create. Imagine yourself walking into a room, shoulders straight, eyes bright, with a calm and grounded energy, no rush, no showmanship, just clarity. You know that what you carry within you can transform someone's life, and you don't need fancy words to convince anyone. You persuade through your presence, through the quiet certainty that radiates from within. That is the power of someone with real value. To become a money magnet, you don't need to perform. You just need to be clear. Clear about who needs you, what problem you help solve, and why you're the right person to do it. When you express that with honesty, not flashiness, not pressure, the right people will find you. And they won't just come as customers, but as partners, ready to offer you opportunity, trust, and the financial support you need to grow further. Money doesn't come to those shouting, "Buy from me." It comes to those saying, "Here's how I can help you." And even deeper, money doesn't come to those selling what everyone else is selling. It comes to those who dare to share a piece of their authentic self, something others can feel, not with their minds, but with their hearts. On this journey, your belief in yourself is the strongest magnetic field you possess. And that belief isn't something that appears overnight. It's built from small, consistent actions. Finishing a task you were once afraid of, helping someone without asking for anything in return, keeping a promise to yourself when no one is watching, choosing honesty over convenience, choosing growth over comfort. Each of these actions recharges your magnetic field, and when it's strong enough, you won't need to chase clients. They'll sense your energy from afar. True value doesn't lie in degrees or achievements. True value lies in whether you can make someone's life a little better, and whether you're willing to stand firmly in that truth. When you say, I believe in what I do because I know it works, you're broadcasting a powerful signal. That signal not only attracts support, but it repels what doesn't align, saving you time, energy, and preserving your clarity. The beauty is, when you stand in the energy of value and belief, you naturally learn to price yourself appropriately. You won't feel guilty setting a high rate because you know that what you're offering isn't just a product or service, it's transformation, relief, confidence, and a solution to someone's burden, and they are willing to pay because they feel the depth of your contribution. You also won't waste time trying to convince those who aren't ready. You'll understand that your energy is meant for the right people, those who genuinely need, deeply desire, and are ready to walk the path with you. At that point, every invitation, every pitch, every conversation becomes natural, effortless, and effective. Because you're no longer selling, you're simply sharing the value you already embody. Of course, none of this happens overnight, but it starts with one very small step, asking yourself each day, did I live in alignment with my values today? And then having the courage to act on that answer. That's how you gradually become a true financial magnet, not through pressure, not through pretense, but through authenticity, clarity, conviction, and sincerity. And soon you'll start to notice people begin to pay attention, even when you're not trying to impress. Opportunities start knocking when you're no longer desperately searching. Money starts flowing in when all you're doing is standing firmly in your truth and letting your light shine. Like a lighthouse in the dark sea, you don't have to run around illuminating everyone. You simply stand tall, shine in the right direction, and the ships will find you. To many people, money is something to accumulate, to hold tightly as a shield for uncertain times. Some see it as a form of protection. The more they have, the safer they feel. But there are also those who treat money as a ticket to escape reality. They spend to forget their problems, to soothe fears, to fill emotional voids they've never dared to face. And in the end, whether they have a lot or a little, money does not actually make them better off. Because money cannot change your life unless you use it the right way, to solve problems, not to run from them. Here's a truth that's hard to accept. Many people earn money as a way of escaping. They work to avoid confronting broken relationships, unresolved inner conflicts, or the fear of feeling powerless, valueless, or invisible in society. But sooner or later, they realize that money cannot buy peace if their inner world is in. On the contrary, money reaches its fullest power when it's used as a tool to unravel, to heal, and to build. Have you ever dealt with a recurring issue, a feeling of lack, prolonged pressure, or a persistent limit that holds you back? And have you ever thought, if I just had more money, everything would be fine? That thought is common and not wrong, but it's not complete. Money can support you, but it cannot fix things for you. It is just a tool. And you are the one who must choose to use that tool wisely. Imagine money as electricity. If you connect it to the right devices, you'll have light, functionality, and efficiency. But if you lack direction, that same electricity can be dangerous. Money works the same way. If you channel it toward real solutions, healing processes, or long-term growth, it amplifies the good. But if you use it to buy distraction, false comfort, or short-term illusions, it will only deepen the problem. I once witnessed someone use his entire savings to escape a stifling environment. He quit his job, moved to a new place, and invested in experiences to become his true self. But after a few months, he found himself confused again. Not because the money was gone, but because he never addressed the root issue. He didn't know what gave his life meaning. And that, money cannot buy. But if he had used that money from the beginning to learn, to explore himself, to connect with the right people, to invest in knowledge and guidance, everything could have turned out differently. What I want to say to you is this: don't use money to delay facing your true pain. Don't let it become the reason you never learn how to confront, how to mature, how to discover what truly matters in your life. Money will support you generously when you use it to go directly into the heart of the problem, Use it to find mentors who can help you uncover what's hidden. Use it to learn, to heal, to rebuild from the inside. Use it to enhance the quality of your life, not to numb the temporary emptiness. Money should not be idolized or feared as the only thing that can save you, because you already have something more valuable than money: your will, your mindset, your ability to make wise decisions. These three are what turn the money in your hand into leverage, not a burden. When you carry a mindset of maturity, sufficiency, and intention, every dollar you spend becomes a seed planted in the right place, opening a new path. You might be going through a tough time, financial stress, overwhelming pressure, shaken faith. Even now, you can still use money wisely. You may not have much, but you can choose to use a small portion of it to learn a new skill, to invest in your mental wellness, to take a small but meaningful step forward. That's not just solving a problem. It's you proving to yourself that you're no longer running. You are facing it. You are changing. And when you begin using money that way, something remarkable happens. You start feeling more powerful, not in the sense of control, but a quiet inner strength, because you know the money in your hands is being used with purpose. And when you use money well, more of it begins to flow, faster, more abundantly, and more sustainably. Not because you're doing it as a trick, but because the universe always supports those who know how to turn resources into real value. Ultimately, the most important thing I want you to take from this part isn't a financial tactic, it's a shift in awareness. Always ask yourself, am I using money to face things or to avoid them? And if the answer is avoidance, just pause. Gently, no judgment, just adjust, just choose again. Because every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you are building. Let money be your intelligent ally, not a curtain that hides the truth. Use it like a light shining into dark corners, a key unlocking long-sealed doors, a stream of cool water nourishing the dry soil within your soul. When you do, you won't just be growing wealthy. You'll be living a life of depth, of purpose, and of real impact. There are moments in life when you've done everything right. You've invested your time, your energy, even your heart. You've shown up with professionalism, clearly communicated the value you offer, worked with passion, and yet nothing happens. The door you knocked on doesn't open. The person you hoped to partner with stays silent. The money you were waiting for still hasn't arrived. In those moments, it's easy to think, maybe I'm not good enough. But let me gently whisper this to you. It's not that you're not good enough. It's possible you gave up before the reward had time to arrive. Success is like a late blooming tree. It doesn't come quickly, and it certainly doesn't come to the impatient. It comes to those who keep planting seeds, watering daily, tending quietly, even when nothing seems to be happening for a long while. And the same is true for money. So many opportunities, resources, and valuable relationships only appear when you are steadfast enough to stay the course. In business, in work, in life, there's one simple yet powerful principle. Those who follow through are always rewarded. But follow through doesn't mean pushing, pestering, or pleading. It means staying present, continuing to deliver value, and keeping your word even when others are not yet ready to respond. Follow through is a way of being, not a strategy. I still vividly remember the story of a friend who launched a great product that the market wasn't ready to understand. He didn't get discouraged. Instead of trying to close the sale immediately, he began a series of emails sharing genuinely helpful insights with potential clients. He didn't push, he supported. He didn't pressure, he built trust. Over time, that quiet consistency built a bond, and clients came to him when they were truly ready. It wasn't magic. It was the reward for his perseverance. This kind of perseverance isn't just for business. It applies to every meaningful relationship with clients, partners, and most importantly, with yourself. Don't expect others to believe in you if you're the first one to walk away. Don't expect money to flow in if you change direction every time things get tough. Money, like a wise friend, is drawn to those who show it respect, And the greatest form of respect is simply not giving up halfway. Maybe you sent a proposal and heard nothing back. Don't label it a failure so quickly. Maybe the person is busy. Maybe they need more time to think. Maybe they're watching to see if you're serious or just passing through. In those moments, your gentle but consistent follow-up is the quiet answer, I'm here, not in a rush, not forcing, but I mean it. Following through is also how you demonstrate that you recognize your own value. When you truly believe in what you're offering, you're not afraid to repeat your message. You're not afraid to wait a little longer. That mindset creates a very specific energy. The energy of someone who knows what they have and believes it deserves to be valued. Let's be clear. Follow through doesn't mean you pursue everyone. Not everyone is right for you. And that's perfectly okay. Follow through is about choosing the right people, the right opportunities, and remaining present in their lives until the timing is right. That's why you must invest in long-term relationships, not just drop in once and disappear. Build trust like a craftsman, hammering in each nail carefully, so that one day that house will be strong enough to hold the wealth you're waiting for. You might be surprised to know that most purchases, collaborations, and investments don't happen on the first interactions. They happen on the second, the third, even the 10th, when your presence becomes more than information. It becomes trust. At that point, people aren't just buying your product, they're buying your consistency, your respect, your patience. In a world where everyone's in a rush, where people move fast and quit when they don't see immediate results, your ability to follow through is what sets you apart. It shows that you're not just here to close a deal, but to build a connection. And those with that mindset are the ones who attract deep, sustainable financial flow. There's a quiet truth life keeps whispering to us, though not everyone listens. Success doesn't belong to the one who starts the strongest. It belongs to the one who doesn't stop. And money, as part of that same flow of energy, only moves toward those who keep going, even when the path is unclear, even when results are still shrouded in fog, even when the heart feels tired. Because in this world, consistent action is not just an expression of effort. It's the language you use to speak to the universe, to prove that you are serious about what you long for. I've met so many people who are talented, who have brilliant ideas, who even stood on the threshold of success, but they stopped. Not because they lacked ability, but because they lost the fire to keep acting. They wanted immediate results. They needed quick proof, and when no clear signs appeared, they lost faith. But the strange truth is, results always come after you've walked long enough in silence, after you've acted with patience, without guarantees. Money is the reward for steady action. And to keep moving, you don't have to do something grand every day. You simply have to not stop. Every small step, an email sent, a phone call made, an idea shared, a skill practiced, is a brick in the foundation that money will eventually stand upon. The secret doesn't lie in the spectacular, but in quiet consistency. I know you might have felt, I've done enough, or why keep going when nothing seems to change? And that's exactly when part of you wants to rest, wants to quit, wants to choose something easier. But if you pay close attention, you'll realize the most successful people are not those who never doubted, but those who kept acting even while they did. They understand that motivation doesn't always show up, inspiration doesn't always flow, but discipline in action is what they can control every single day. Consistent action is also how you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy. You are building a relationship between you and you. Every time you keep a promise to yourself to keep writing, keep learning, keep sharing, you raise your internal worth in your own eyes. And when you believe in yourself, the world starts reflecting that belief back to you through opportunities, returning clients, and the movement of money. Here's something interesting. It's not action that burns you out. It's distraction, delay, and the guilt of knowing what you should do but not doing it. When you enter a rhythm of steady action, you feel momentum, like riding a bike. It might be heavy at first, but once the wheels turn, you just maintain the rhythm and it becomes light, smooth, effortless. Money works the same. It needs a stable push to form a sustainable flow. The world always favors those who persist, because very few people actually go all the way. And in that persistence, you create a competitive edge no one else can copy, not because you're more special, but because you're still showing up when others have already walked away. That makes you rare. And anything rare is valuable. If today you feel like, I've been doing this forever and nothing's changed, I want you to know you're accumulating something invisible that others can't see. Every time you patiently take one more step, you clear doubt from your body. Every time you choose action over delay, you deepen trust with those silently watching you, and soon you will be answered not just with money, but with recognition, connection, and the blossoming of seeds you once planted. Money doesn't respond to feelings, it follows the inertia of movement. You can't just sit still and hope good things will come if you never initiate the motion. But you also don't need to throw yourself into action like a machine. What you need is purposeful, regular, flexible, and persistent effort. A person who walks every day will go further than the one who sprints once and collapses. And finally, the last thing I want you to carry from this part is this. Consistent action is how you say to the universe, I'm ready for the reward. Not with words, but with the steps you take every single day. Action is the most powerful form of prayer. Quiet, humble, yet incredibly effective. And you will see, when you don't stop, money won't stop either. It will flow toward you, not because you forced it, but because you became a worthy destination. Keep going. Even if no one's clapping yet, even if you're the only one who sees what you're building, keep going, because action never betrays you. It may be slow, it may come late, but it will always lead you to where you truly belong. We grow up in a world that teaches us we must beat others to succeed. Be faster, be better, be more aggressive, and if possible, outdo what everyone else is doing. But amid millions running, pushing, and striving to get ahead, have you ever asked yourself, is this really the only path to prosperity? The answer is no. In a world full of competition, the winner is not the one who imitates best, but the one who dares to be different by creating real value. You don't need to compete with others when you're playing a game you've designed for yourself, and that game begins when you look deeply within, discovering what is unique, authentic, and worthy of being shared with the world. When you do that, when you live aligned with your strengths and passions, you don't need to fight. You just need to shine. Because real light doesn't compete, it only needs to be present. Creating value is the path of those who understand that true worth doesn't lie in perfection, but in sincerity, usefulness, and consistency. When you stop trying to become a better version of someone else and start becoming the purest version of yourself, you move from the field of competition to the field of contribution. And in that space, no one is the same. Each person becomes a unique flow, a distinct hue, a singular frequency. I once fell into the subtle trap of comparison. I had to be as fast as them, as polished, as inspiring. But the harder I tried to become like someone else, the more I lost my essence. The more I aimed to outdo others, the further I strayed from the original energy within me, where my true value lived. Only when I stopped, turned inward, and began creating something that only I could create, did the flow begin to return. Competition is the sign of a crowded market, but value is the mark of a pioneer. If you find yourself squeezing into a space already full of people saying the same things, doing the same things, selling the same things, don't push harder. Step back and ask yourself, where am I truly different? What can I create that no one has thought of yet? Or, how can I do something familiar in a way that's completely mine? Even the smallest answer is enough to open a path where there's no crowd and no need to fight. Remember, in the markets of the future, the winner won't be the cheapest, the fastest, or the loudest. It will be the realist. The ones offering solutions born of understanding, the ones who connect through depth, the ones who dare to speak what needs to be said and do what helps others without fear of being different. True difference doesn't come from trying to stand out. It comes from the courage to not blend in. And when you choose to be different by creating your own value, you enter the realm of those who don't chase money, but attract it. Creating value doesn't have to be something grand. It can be a piece of content that enlightens someone, a conversation that helps someone see their path more clearly, a product built with care and sincerity. In each of those actions, you leave a mark. Not a noisy one, but one that makes people pause, remember, and return when they truly need you. Someone working with a competitive mindset will always worry. What are others doing? Who's better than me? Who might replace me? But someone focused on creating value will ask, who did I help today? Did what I offer make someone's life better? How can I make my service, my product, or my message even more authentic and meaningful? That shift in perspective brings inner peace and becomes fertile ground for sustainable financial growth. Here's what I want you to remember. Money doesn't flow to the loudest person in the room. It flows to the one who brings a sense of trust, clarity, and distinction. If you're only doing what's hot in the market, you'll always be chasing trends. But if you act from what genuinely stirs you inside, you'll be setting trends. And when you're the one setting the pace, you don't need to jostle for space. You simply stand steady, act consistently, and stay true to your essence, and the world will find its way to you. In an era where anyone can be a content creator, those who offer real value are the ones who know when to stay quiet, where to observe, and only speak when there's something worth saying. They're the ones who don't need to post every day, but every time they do, it leaves a lasting impression. They don't make products to sell. They create experiences to be remembered. They don't seek to stand out. They naturally become unforgettable through their subtlety, depth, and sincerity. So if you've ever felt like you're not competitive enough, be at peace. Competition is not the only path, and for the value creator, it's not even necessary. Your job is not to become someone else. It's to express more clearly the deepest truth of who you already are, and from that place, you'll begin to see a new stream of income. Not one born from short-term tricks, but from a lasting resonance between you and the people who genuinely need what you have to offer. Money will always find its way to where real value lives. That's a law that doesn't need advertising, embellishment, or comparison. Because true value, when given with a sincere heart, always finds its way back. Not in immediate applause, but in long-term loyalty, trust, and meaningful growth. Every day you wake up, your mind begins to operate like a magnificent engine. You start thinking, choosing, reacting, acting. But what few realize is this: before anything takes form in the material world, it first exists as a vague image in your mind. Every idea, every decision, every path you take originates from some kind of vision, fleeting or vivid, conscious, and that's why clear visualization is the first step to living with clarity, especially when it comes to building wealth. You may have once believed, I'll believe it when I see it. But the truth is, you'll see it when you believe it. And to believe, you must begin by visualizing. Visualization is not daydreaming. It's an intentional act of programming your mind to know where to go, what to seek, how to align your energy and behavior in the right direction. It is how you send signals to the universe and how you awaken the power within yourself. A wealthy life doesn't arrive by accident. It begins with purposeful imagination. Not the kind of fantasy that fades, but a living blueprint. Something you feel with your heart and see with your inner eye. You must feel yourself living in abundance, see the home you want, feel the work you love, sense the people who journey with you, witness the value you create as if it's already happening. And you don't just think it, you live inside it, from the inside out. Neuroscience has proven that the brain cannot distinguish between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience. That means when you visualize something clearly, deeply, consistently, you activate the same neural circuits as if you were truly living it. That's why visualization is your way of training in advance for the future you want to create. You're building the neural pathways, the mental reflexes, and the emotional readiness, so when the opportunity shows up, you don't freeze, doubt, or reject it. You simply step into it because you've already lived it. I once knew a woman who dreamed of opening her own little bakery. She had no capital, no storefront, and was tied up in a demanding office job. But each day she took a few minutes to visualize herself welcoming customers, preparing pastries, smiling as someone took a bite and gasped with delight. She imagined the wall colors, the music, the morning light, even the scent of the oven. And then one day an opportunity came. Her best friend offered to transfer an old shop at a remarkably low price. She didn't hesitate. In her mind, she had already rehearsed that moment hundreds of times. That's the power of visualization. It doesn't just open the door, it prepares you to walk through it. Because once your vision of the future becomes clear enough, you stop asking, can I, and start asking, when do I begin? And every action from that point, how you speak, how you manage time, the relationships you build, starts shifting you closer to the life you've seen. However, for visualization to truly work, it must be done right. It's not just thinking good thoughts, but building a structured, vivid, emotionally charged mental space. When you visualize living in wealth, you shouldn't just see money. You should feel freedom, serenity, the joy of helping others, the confidence of no longer being controlled by financial pressure. You must feel the wealth, not just wish for it. Make it a daily practice. Just a few minutes in the morning or before bed. In a calm state, close your eyes and step into the world you want to live in. Don't force it to be perfect. Let it be honest, emotional, and consistent. Over time, you'll notice your mind changing. You'll start rejecting things that don't match your vision. You'll begin attracting opportunities and people who operate on the same frequency, and money naturally will begin to shift in your direction. The beauty is, once you visualize a wealthy future deeply enough, you stop seeing it as distant. You begin living with the mindset that this is inevitable, not, I hope this happens, and that shift from longing to knowing, from hope to certainty, is what changes everything. Because money doesn't flow to doubt, it flows to the place where belief is unwavering, where the mind is prepared to receive and manage abundance as if it's already the norm. Finally, understand this. Visualization doesn't replace action, but it informs it. When you clearly see where you want to go, every step you take becomes purposeful. And when you walk with vision, you build your reality and ignite hope at the same time. This is how successful people create their lives. They see it before anyone else does, they believe it before proof appears, and they act as if it's already unfolding. Because in truth, it is. Among all the habits that can transform your life, there is one so simple that many overlook it, yet so profound that it can open a new gateway for wealth to enter: gratitude. Not the kind of gratitude you say half-heartedly to sound polite, nor the kind that surfaces only when everything goes well. I'm talking about a state of being, a way of living, where you feel abundance even when things aren't complete, where you say thank you not because you have it all, but because you recognize you already have more than enough to begin. Gratitude is not merely a mental practice. It is a vibrational frequency, a unique layer of energy that brings you into harmony with the vibration of prosperity. When you are grateful, you're not only honoring what you already have, you're also signaling to the universe, I am ready to receive more. And the universe, or the flow of life, if you prefer to call it that, always responds powerfully to that signal. When you give thanks for something, you invite more of it into your life, more richly, more deeply. I once lived through a season of heavy pressure when everything felt scarce: money, time, opportunity. But I will never forget that morning. It was an ordinary day, no miracles in sight. I sat down with a blank sheet of paper and wrote, I'm grateful that I still have the strength to keep going. Then came the next line. I'm grateful that I'm still learning even through hardship. Then, I'm grateful that I still have faith I kept writing, not to comfort myself, but to wake up and see what I still had, things I had been unconsciously taking for granted. Just days later, small signs started to appear. A new work opportunity, a powerful introduction, an unexpected income. Not because I had prayed correctly, but because I had changed my energy. I no longer looked at life through the lens of lack. I began living with the awareness that I was walking a meaningful path, and I understood money doesn't come to the person trembling in scarcity. It comes to the one who is ready to receive with reverence. Gratitude does not require conditions. You don't have to wait until you have enough to be thankful. In fact, if you can't feel gratitude for the small things, you won't know how to stay peaceful when the big things arrive. Think back to the last time you received an unexpected amount of money, no matter how small. How did you respond? Did you feel pure joy and appreciation? Or did you brush it off as still not enough? These small moments reveal clearly what energy you are radiating. Gratitude is also how you bring completeness to your actions when you're paid for your work. Rather than seeing it as something owed, pause to say thank you. Thank the person who trusted you. Thank yourself for doing your work with care. Thank the flow of money for circulating through you. When you spend, whether on a bill or something you enjoy, be thankful that you can spend. Gratitude keeps you in the posture of receiving, not demanding. And that subtle shift makes a powerful difference. There are people who work hard, who serve diligently, but because they constantly feel underpaid or unrecognized, they unknowingly close their own financial flow. Resentment, comparison, or not enough energy creates resistance. And money, like water, cannot flow into places where walls have been raised. Gratitude, on the other hand, is how you tear down those walls. It widens the channels so money can come through freely and naturally. One of the most powerful forms of gratitude is gratitude in advance. That means giving thanks for things not yet here, as if they're already on their way. Thanking the future home, the dream job, the ideal collaborators, the abundant income you're preparing to receive. Not through fake affirmations, but with genuine emotion. I believe this is coming, and I'm ready to honor it. When you thank what hasn't arrived as if it already has, you shrink the gap between belief and reality. You're no longer just waiting, you are co-creating. I know there are days when it's hard to feel thankful, days when nothing seems to go right, money feels tight, and dreams seem far. But it's precisely in those moments, if you can still find one small thing to be grateful for, you prove that you are stronger than your circumstances, and someone like that radiates an irresistible energy to prosperity. Because the universe walks beside those who live from gratitude, not fear. And then the miracles begin. You start attracting not just money, but good people, right-timed opportunities, and unexpected rewards, not because you're being spiritual, but because you're living in alignment with the universal law. Give with appreciation and receive with grace. Gratitude doesn't make you soft, it makes you powerful in a quiet way, no longer needing to push, to fight, to prove. You live in deep appreciation and everything else begins to come, money included. It will flow to the one living in the frequency of thankfulness. Because that person is worthy of receiving and expanding the flow with conscious, intentional hands. We've walked a journey together, not just one of financial principles, but a deeper path of awakening a source of energy that has always lived within you, financial energy. This isn't just the movement of money, it's a powerful reflection of your inner strength, your belief, the way you live, choose, and connect with the world. And if there is one message I hope you carry from everything we've explored, it is this. Money doesn't begin outside of you, it begins within you. And you can learn to awaken it. Money has never been the destination. It is the clearest expression of your relationship with the value you generate each day. It mirrors your mindset, your attitude, your energy, your discipline, and your awareness. So instead of asking, how can I have more money? Perhaps the better question is, how can I become someone money wants to find? We've spoken about energy, That money, like all other forms of energy, must move to create value. It needs to circulate between giving and receiving, between action and receptivity, between uncalculated generosity and open-hearted acceptance. Those who fear money leaving are the ones blocking their own flow. But when you live like a conduit, not hoarding from fear, but circulating from trust, you become the gateway through which abundance can enter and expand. We've explored the power of purpose, that money is not here to satisfy random cravings, but to support a mission greater than yourself. Those who build sustainable wealth all have this in common. They don't live just for themselves. They rise each morning with a reason strong enough to carry them through silence, resistance, and fatigue. Money finds those with a clear why, because they don't just keep it, they give it meaning. We've also talked about action, how dreams without action are illusions, but action doesn't mean chaotic hustle. It means consistent, constructive, energy-building steps. Wealth doesn't come from one impulsive moment. It's born from conscious, repeated decisions day after day. Those who never stop are the ones who keep money flowing because money loves consistency. Then we move deeper, where every strategy must root itself in inner alignment. Visualizing a wealthy life isn't to escape reality, it's how you reprogram your subconscious. The clearer your vision, the clearer your direction. You can't walk toward what you cannot see, but once you do see it, through vivid images, emotions, and imagined experiences, you begin to recalibrate even your smallest actions toward that destination. Of course, you can't invite wealth without one essential ingredient: gratitude. We discussed gratitude as a quiet but powerful magnetic field. It turns lack into enough and a little into progress. And from that inner fullness, you begin to attract your rightful rewards. Not because you demand them, but because you're aligned with them. Not because you beg, but because you resonate. When you combine all of these, energy, purpose, action, vision, and gratitude, you become not just someone who understands money, but someone who lives in harmony with its deeper nature. You no longer fear uncertainty, envy others' success, or measure yourself by the digits in your account. You live with a calm that draws others in, quiet but not passive, peaceful but not complacent, deep but never heavy. And from that space, you become a keeper of the flow. Someone money is drawn to, not by tactics, but by frequency. Someone money doesn't just come to be spent through, but to be amplified by. Someone whose every action carries a deep intent, a clean energy, and a grounded spirit that makes money feel safe in your hands. From now on, see money as an extension of the life force within you. It has no opinion of its own. It simply amplifies who you are. If you're confused, it will scatter. If you're afraid, it will avoid you. But if you are clear, strong, kind, and purpose-driven, it will stay. Because money isn't smart, but it is sensitive. It can sense who is truly ready to receive and use it for something greater. The end of this journey isn't the end of your learning. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you step into the world with new perspective, new power, and a new operating system. Start small. A conscious purchase, a sincere thank you at checkout, a morning spent visualizing the future you want to create. Each act is a silent commitment. You have become someone new, someone capable of creating, holding, and sharing the energy of money with awareness. And soon, quietly, steadily, and unmistakably, the world will respond. The flow of money will return, not with noise, not with rush, but with consistency, with stability, and with gratitude. Because you're no longer chasing money, you become the source of wealth itself. And that, my friend, is a state no one can ever take from you, no matter what the market does, no matter how life shifts. You are the root. You are the source. And money now is simply a beautiful reflection of who you already are.